All right. Good evening. I would like to call a special receivers meeting with the public to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, I just want to make a couple of points. We decided to have this special receivers meeting came up because we had to spend and approve all of our remaining ESSER dollars prior to the September 30, 2024 deadline. And I believe we have to have this information into PDE by Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why this meeting was publicly advertised a week ago, to have it to coincide with the committee as a whole meeting. Board members, myself, and administration had conversation about the committee as a whole meeting and knew that tonight was back to school night here at STEM, and thought it would be a good idea if we change the location of the meeting so that we can be here and get a captive audience with parents so that they can be engaged in the process. Which you just witnessed some people not on camera but here in the audience. We apologize for the confusion because it is back to school night. We as a board receiver and administrators usually meet in what we call an executive session prior to a meeting to go through the agenda to answer any questions that we have. So that's what you just witnessed us doing. Because it's back to school night, there's not a lot of space for us in this building to do that. So we had to do it with people in the room. So I don't want anyone to feel like they were left out of the process, but you all have a copy of the agenda. And at this time, of course, we won't have a superintendent's report. Dr. Momina is at a conference. We will have public comment on action items only. So if there is anyone who has public comment on any action items on this agenda, please step to the podium, state your name, address for the record.
Thank you so much and good evening. For items D7, D8, and D9, that's over $200,000 of ESSER funds that we are talking about, one for 40, one for 170,000, and another for 90,000. And my question for that is, all of it has to do with gaps in our learning. And I totally agree that there are gaps. What I am wondering is who in this room tonight, or maybe later, can explain to me with bubblegum language, and that's what I mean, so I can understand it and it's not a vocabulary that is difficult for me to understand. My question is, who can help me understand the gap that has occurred because of COVID, and then what the industry is saying we need to do to close the gap? One of my concerns is that I think the gap happened because of technology, children being at home and learning online. And now I'm looking at us spending a ton of money to use technology to close the gap that I think technology partially created. So I would need some educators, and I don't expect it to necessarily be in this room. Somebody's thought this up and provided these funds. And so wherever these gurus are, can somebody research that and help me understand, first, what is the scope of the gap? And second, how do we expect this technology to fill the gap? Because I think most of our children really prefer in-person learning. Is that asynchronous or synchronous? You know, I love those words.
Well, asynchronous is no more.
I know, I'm just trying to be cute.
And Ms. Arnold, we can answer that at a later date.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. And I would say that the vast majority of this technology will be used in the classroom.
Oh.
And it won't be for students to do things off-site. Because, of course, asynchronous doesn't exist anymore. But this is just, I guess we're coming with the times and how other districts are doing things with technology to educate students.
Yes, but I still would like for someone
to...
to...
data, I can most certainly, we can look at that. I know that I've seen some data in statewide receivers meetings that I've attended where they addressed it. So I'll see if I can get that pulled from PDE. And then we can talk with Dr. Parker, Dr. Sutton, and other academic directors about it
Yes.
specific to Chester Upland.
I would love to sit in your classrooms. The other one is D12. I've forgotten what it was, but it made me want to ask you, can you, this program that adjusts to students' responses, as I read it, it says it helps pinpoint a student's instructional level regardless of their grade level. And I've seen some interactive programs where if you answer a question the wrong way, they would restructure the next question in response to how you missed it and make those adjustments. So I am familiar with technology that does that. But I would greatly like to see if we could have something of a demonstration some kind of way. And I know I'm just one person, but I'm highly curious as to how this works. So if somebody could help us or have a PTO meeting or a bigger audience to help us understand how this works, I would really appreciate that. Those are my two questions.
And I looked at Dr. Parker. She said she's open to that. So.
She and I are going to be much bigger friends than we've been before. Nothing new. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. Any other, go ahead. Director Morales. Yeah. You want the mic? Yes.
For D12, it says $40 as the dollar amount. Okay. And is that's noted in the paperwork that the budget says $40,000. This is okay.
So, as noted by Director Morales, please let the record reflect that in action item D12, that the fiscal impact dollar amount should be $40,000 and not $40. Before the actions are approved, I want to note that for the record. Okay. Is it an action item? Okay. Okay. No, it's one of these ESER agenda items? Okay.
I forgot to say my name is Jean Arnold, and I'm at 2601 McCary Street. The other item that I forgot to ask is, I still don't know the total amount of ESSER money that we had as a district.
So I would say that's not an ESER agenda item, but we can get that for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what the total was because of a comment that we have to spend it in a certain amount of time. My question was, what is the total amount of ESSER funds that we had? How many years did we have to spend it? And I know that the guidelines changed somewhat. If we could have a review of what those final guidelines came to be, would be helpful.
Okay, and I believe we're required by law to have those posted to the website, and I believe you guys update that frequently. We also post the 3 ESSER amounts, which I think they are. I believe they're there, ESSER 1, 2, and 3. So I can tell you, Ms. Arnold, in public that the October receivers meeting is supposed to be about an ESSER. The presentation is like an ESSER closeout. So there will be a comprehensive report. We have final reports due there in December, though, right? The final reports for ESSER. So, but we'll get that on the website, and then also the presentation will show some things. Welcome. All right. With that, no more public comment. I would like to take action on ESSER agenda items D1 through D12. Agenda items D1 through D12 are hereby approved with the correction to action item D12, stating that the actual amount is $40,000. Action item D1 through D12 are hereby approved. At this time, we'll have public comment. Address, 3 minutes, podium. Yes. Oh, come on, stay right.
Carol Kazim, 327 East 23rd Street. I just wanted to ask if the board, hopefully we can discuss around solars. I know I met with the superintendent where we're pushing for, solars for schools. I did request that Chester Upland be the top priority as solar, so I'm just asking you guys respectfully if that can be an approved item. The grants will come directly from the State Department of Education as well, and hopefully that's something we can do. And if you do have any contact that I can reach as far as a project manager or anyone where we can have a meeting regarding assessments that the state did state to me they would be willing to provide for free for the school district, and if we can just start getting some solars in our schools. I would love for that to be something, and I'm just asking respectfully if you guys can think about it, talk about it as a board, as a receiver, and see if that's something you guys would love to do, because I would really like to start seeing that go. The grants will be available next month in October, and it's going to roll out pretty quickly, but like I said, Chester Upland is listed, and I just want to really start getting that going, so we really have to talk about assessments. So that's all I wanted to just bring up, and thank you guys for all you do.
Okay, thank you, State Rep. And Mr. Robertson, if we could coordinate with the State Rep's office, and State Rep, I'll be in contact with you. Dr. Mumine, she told me, I know I was supposed to be in that meeting, I was out ill last week. But I will follow up with Dr. Mumine so that we can get with facilities and get that at the top of our list. All right, with that. Okay.
Thank you, Representative Kazim. Some years ago, prior to your time here, Receiver Nichols, we talked about STEM because it's a STEM school, looking at solar panels out back to do a solar farm, if you will, and help pay some of our utilities here. And if we could ever turn the dial back so that we are receiving money as opposed to spending money for our energy, that had been talked about. So I'm guessing there's some people still around who could talk to you about that. But that's a suggestion I would like to offer in support of what our representative has talked about. The other thing is, I understand that Judge Dozier offered his opinion. Today or yesterday, we were in court on Wednesday. And I'm thinking that it would be helpful for the community if we could make his opinion public and then provide a time for us to discuss that with the community so that they can know what was talked about in court and what the judge finally decided.
The solicitor has plans to do that, and some of that will take place at next week's regularly scheduled
Wonderful.
meeting.
Thank you.
All right. You took your turn last week. Okay. You can come up. 3 minutes, 2 minutes. The newspaper.
The newspaper. Karen Maya, 904 Pusey Street, down the street. Just a quick question. Physics and Spanish teachers here at STEM, do we know whether we have a physics teacher? From what I'm understanding, there is a teacher teaching virtually, and then there's someone in the classroom. In physics, you need an actual physics teacher. So I need to know that. And then as far as Spanish teachers, and then are we going to ever enforce the uniform policies in our schools?
So, Dr. Pless. Dr. Pless, they're asking if you can come. And Ms. Karen, Dr. Pless is coming. My understanding is that the uniform policy is being enforced. If it is not, that is something that I will certainly will look into. The one day that I was in schools, it appeared that they were following it, but that was at the very beginning.
Oh, that was the first day?
But no, not the first day, maybe the second or third day. But again, I'll follow up with Dr. Mumine, Dr. Sutton, and building leadership about that.
I did.
But it's my expectation that that's happening.
I did ask you, could I do a walk through the schools, and you didn't respond.
I was
a community person.
I was sick.
When you get well.
Okay.
Thank you.
We do have 2 Spanish teachers, STEM, right?
Yes.
At STEM. And We are currently in the process of recruiting for a physics teacher. We did hire one who unfortunately resigned prior to the start of the school year, but we are utilizing a system called Admentum, which does have an educator providing the instruction to the students, and then there is someone that is in the classroom with them to assist with that instruction, but that is so that there is not a delay in the instruction while we are trying to recruit for that position. It is identified as a hard-to-fill position, but we are still actively trying to recruit for it. The Admentum program is only by semester basis, so we're still able to actively recruit for the role. So if we are able to recruit for it, that individual will replace the system that we have in place, but that is just a temporary fix. Hopefully we'll be able to recruit someone before the end of the school year, but we did want to make sure that the students still received instruction.
So the person who's actually in the classroom is not a physics teacher. So when the students have questions about physics, they have to email the person who's online doing instruction. Am I?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, we got to get somebody in there because physics is not a class that we definitely want to make sure. We want to make sure that our students have an in-school teacher.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. With that being said, we will conclude this meeting and adjourn. And Madam President, I don't know if you want to continue to roll as committee as a whole, or it was advertised that way that you could do me after, but I can, whatever you want to do.
You can end it. You start later.
Okay, end it. It's ended. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you. Mr. Solicitor, the way the advertisement read was that I will have a special meeting and this meeting would follow. So that I would say that's a